Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of It's Fine, I'm Fine. I am your host, Kate Sosi. I feel like it feels a little weird to say host, just because there's nobody else here. But I digress. Just in case nobody knows who I am a 26-year-old living in the mountains of Colorado. My actual day-to-day profession is an executive pastry chef at a 4-star resort. But I am also a small indie VTuber in my spare time. And even though this podcast is going to be posted onto my VTubing account, it's not necessarily going to be about that. In the future, I may do a podcast or two that maybe talks about it a little bit, but as of right now, I don't have anything planned or written out or scheduled, but I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. It definitely is, but it just won't be centered around VTubing or like my VTuber character, even though I am using that name to post this podcast. This first episode is going to be the title episode. It's fine, I'm fine. I really wanted to go over kind of why I chose this name for it and kind of the meaning behind it for me. This is a phrase I've been saying over the past year or two, and I've said it a lot. And for a lot of people, fine isn't necessarily that great of a thing, which is fair. And there's a lot of people who say, oh, be aware of when a woman says she's fine, she's not really fine. And I'm not saying that that's not good advice, because I used to not actually mean anything positive whenever I used to say it as well. But for me, over the past year or so, it's kind of evolved to be less of a placeholder and more of something else to me. So I personally have struggled with depression and anxiety since like middle school or sooner. I can't really remember. But I didn't end up seeing a therapist until my senior year of high school. But our insurance only covered like 3 sessions or so, and she thought I had depression and anxiety then, but because I only had so few sessions, nothing really came of it. And my parents at the time, they really did not understand what depression and anxiety were, and that they were actually real debilitating things for me in my life. They still kind of struggle with it to this day. But my mom is trying to get a handle on it. But that's why nothing came of it when I was younger. There was no like official diagnosis by a doctor because I was seeing a therapist, but they weren't, they didn't have the licensing to actually give me an official diagnosis. I wasn't diagnosed until my second year of college, when I had a serious depressive episode accompanied by really bad panic attacks. And I ended up seeking out a doctor's help for a clinic on my campus, because luckily they offered those kind of services to students, which is really great. And that's when I first got onto antidepressants, actually. But that's a story for another day. I'm going to skip the rest of this story and kind of fast forward to the present. I just wanted to give a little bit of background about kind of my experience and kind of where this "it's fine, I'm fine" stems from. And that's a important part to know. um, so, in the present, a lot of things have happened since then and now. I started college. How long ago was that now? Geez, how old am I? I started college 7 years ago. So, this incident was about 6 years ago. And, like I said, a lot of things have happened, and I've been working with the therapist on and off through the years. And a couple years ago, I actually found a therapist that has really actually helped me. She's actually been encouraging and understanding, and she's been teaching me really good coping mechanisms and everything. I have kind of had, unfortunately, not the best luck with therapists. I had one that I really, really loved, and unfortunately, she kind of decided to change her career path a little bit. Instead of taking like a lot of general people and adults, she wanted to specialize in therapy for kids, which, is a noble thing to do, and that's what she wants to do and pursue, right? Which is great. I'm not gonna knock that or anything like that, but when you're someone who struggles with these things, it can be a little embarrassing sometimes, to have to kind of disclose and open up yourself so much to someone else only for them to just disappear. And I know she was just someone I was paying to listen, but I really liked her and appreciated her style. And then the next therapist I had, she straight up ghosted me. She said she was going on vacation and that she would schedule more sessions with me afterwards, and then she ghosted me for about 2 or 3 months. Her vacation was only supposed to be like 2 weeks. And whenever she finally answered back, of course I no longer wanted to see her. So, anyways, I found this therapist that I have now, and she's really wonderful. She really does listen and understand and helps me kind of process all the emotions and different issues in my life, and it's very wonderful. I am glad I have this therapist. She really has helped me through a lot, and in a positive way. And she's been teaching me some coping mechanisms, for sure, because that's an important part of therapy and getting better. Obviously, I am not perfect by any means. I wouldn't say like I'm a role model or anything whenever it comes to emotional management. I'm still working on myself, and I definitely feel that I have a long way to go. But one of the things that I started saying due to all of this is, it's fine, I'm fine. At first, I'll admit, this phrase was not a healthy way of coping. It was something I did to kind of push my emotions and feelings away, so I didn't have to actually deal with them. Which, obviously, some people learn how to do as kids. I learned how to do it as a kid, and it was the safest thing for me growing up, was to push my emotions away and to not actually outwardly show them. But that also created really bad coping skills because I wasn't actually dealing with anything. Plus, I never actually processed my emotions, and I never really learned how to self-regulate, unfortunately, which is one of the things that I'm working on. But it allowed me to lock all of those bad feelings away, and I didn't have to think about them, and I could move on with my day. But after so long, it kind of became my phrase to calm myself down and be able to think clearly, which, it took a while for it's fine, I'm fine to become what it is today. I think I never really meant for it to transition into kind of the phrase it is, which it's become an almost like meditative calming phrase that I tell to myself when I get overwhelmed or on the verge of a panic attack or my thoughts start spiraling. I say this over and over again while taking deep, long breaths, which obviously is another coping mechanism that a lot of people know about, and it is definitely helpful, especially when you're getting overwhelmed. And whenever I'm doing this, it allows me to focus on something while clearing my mind and calming myself down. My therapist and I have spoken about whenever I'm feeling these really big, intense emotions is having kind of a neutral phrase. With just the way that my mind works, it helps me out a lot. So this kind of unintentionally became my neutral phrase or statement, so to speak. So it's something that someone says to themselves in situations like I just described, where I don't feel like I'm lying to myself and deluding myself by saying everything is good and happy whenever I'm like in a full down like panic attack where I'm like everything's bad and horrible and blah blah blah. Like, I'm not trying to lie to myself or convince myself otherwise, but at the same time, it does break that thought process and that spiral of everything bad is bad and horrible and nothing ever good happens, which is usually what my thought spirals are. So I really like having a neutral statement. For me personally, it just helps me calm down and lets me know that everything is fine. Like, as long as I'm breathing and thinking, I really am fine, and I will be able to figure out whatever situation I'm in. And that's something that this phrase also allows me to remember and kind of like kick in when I'm having these bad moments. Because I can recall all the times that, I was, feeling like it was almost the end of the world. But it really wasn't, because I'm still here. The world's still moving on. And I'm okay. I'm fine. And I don't know, I'm just kind of appreciative of being able to do that and to find that phrase. And sometimes I do say this like in a silly way when I'm around other people, and it's kind of become a catchphrase for me almost. No one in my life really knows why I say this, and that's okay. They don't need to know, because I feel like then it kind of takes away from me what it's supposed to do. This phrase has calmed me down many, many times, and helps me to self-soothe and regulate my emotions, kind of like I was talking about earlier, because I've struggled with that a lot. But you guys will probably hear me say it too whenever I'm playing hard video games or I'm failing at something while on stream. I'll just be like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, I'm fine. And that is just literally me kind of self-soothing in a way. I'm not necessarily actually upset, but you know, it can be kind of intimidating to be putting yourself out there and streaming and messing up something constantly. Because I know I personally, whenever I'm watching YouTube or something like that, if someone is like constantly missing or overlooking something, it annoys the life out of me. So I get nervous about that, of course, because I know how I feel about that. I do try to make it fun in my streams and a little bit less serious. And, you know, that's what the It's Fine is. It's a little bit more lighthearted in that situation, which is good. But you may hear me say it. And I ended up deciding to name the podcast this because I wanted a name that reflected my current place in life. I'm still really trying to figure out things surrounding myself and my mental state. And I think it perfectly sums it up with, it's fine, I'm fine. Because I really am fine. I have gone through some pretty hard points in my life, and I have gotten through them. And I don't feel like I am out to the other side yet. But I feel like I'm at a critical point in my life where things are really starting to change and click for me. I'm really starting to understand myself more and who I am and who I want to be, which is obviously so important. And I'm glad that I'm finally getting to that place. I have a long ways to go, but I'm working on it, and I am fine. And one day, I hope, it turns into I'm doing great or I'm doing good. But with all other things, it kind of takes time. And again, with the it's fine, I'm fine, it kind of, every time I'd like say it, even, it makes me just want to take just a deep breath and just let out all of that stress and anxiousness that I'm feeling. And that's what I really need. And I'm kind of glad that it's turned into that for me. And I'm thankful that I am in my life where things are good enough that I can start working on them being better. There was another name for the podcast that I was considering, and I almost named it It's Not That Serious, or something along those lines, just because the idea of this is talk about things that I want to talk about, and sometimes I just start rambling and saying things I don't really want people to take that seriously, because I'm just a random person on the internet. Like, why does my opinion matter? Like this, like, I literally typed out a 3-page long script for what I wanted to say. And I wrote it like word for word, like how I would actually speak and talk and stuff. But I've gone off of it so many times. So anyways, I just wanted a different platform for how I speak and think about things and talk about it meaningfully. And naming something is not that serious takes away the meaning behind it, which obviously is the opposite of what I want to do. Which at first I didn't realize that that's what this was going to be for me. I wanted it to be kind of an outlet, which it still will be. But I guess I was sort of afraid that people would take me too seriously, that people would, listen to this and be like, oh, this person's so serious, like, I can't believe they're talking about that, like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It's just a weird insecurity, because my persona as a VTuber is very light and funny and energetic. I am very sincere, I feel like, but I'm not always serious with how I am. And because I'm doing this under my VTuber name, I didn't want people to kind of be what do I want to say? I didn't want people to be kind of pushed away because they thought that this is how my streams are going to be. But this is just another part of me, and me sharing a little bit of my life with you. Another reason why I decided not to name it It's Not That Serious, which was kind of I don't want to say the big reason, it's like the second reason, was I wanted this name to be like somewhat original. And I looked this up, like, It's Not That Serious, and there were so many podcasts named that. And I wanted to be at least semi-original. Honestly, I didn't look up It's Fine, I'm Fine. Because there was so much meaning behind it for me that it didn't really matter. Whereas It's Not That Serious didn't really have a lot of meaning for me, so I was okay with kind of letting it go. And also for like behind the name of the podcast, I wanted something that didn't make me feel too pressured into doing something very specific, like It's Not That Serious, would have made me feel like I had to make the podcast a little bit more lighthearted than it might be sometimes. Like this episode and then the next episode that I planned out are probably not that lighthearted, because I have some stuff that I just want to get off my chest and talk about, but that's not going to be every single one. I have plans to do other ones that are kind of funnier, anecdotal podcasts. So it just didn't make sense. And I also didn't want anything that would make me feel like too pressured to do it all the time. Like something crazy like the 3 times a week talk show. I know that's a horrible name. It's obviously nobody's gonna name their podcast, but that's just an example that just came into my head. Just because I wanna post this as it feels right. I want these to be very sincere and coming from the heart. So I don't have a schedule for this yet because of that. I want to be in the right place and like in my head and emotionally and physically in the right place. And I feel like pressuring myself to be on a schedule with this will make it less genuine. My goal for things regarding this is probably a couple times a month. But again, it just might depend on how I feel. For example, I wrote the kind of script that I'm going off of today about a week ago. And I haven't felt like recording it until today. And today I also wrote the script for the second episode. I just had a really kind of hard day today regarding work, and I just wanted to talk about my experiences and these feelings that I'm feeling, and hopefully other people can relate to it. I'm not ready to do that episode yet. I think I need a little bit more space from everything that's happened today, but I will most likely do it soon because I definitely want it to be the second episode because you get to learn a lot about me in that. So, anyways, that is all I really wanted to say about this. And thank you all if you have stayed this long for staying. And I really, really hope you enjoyed it because I did. And hopefully I get better at talking like this. There's definitely a few parts I know I need to edit. I'm not used to just talking like this. But thank you again for listening. I do really appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this or content from me, from my VTuber persona, go ahead and like and subscribe. And leave a comment about some things you want to hear me ramble about, because that's honestly always helpful. And thank you guys for joining, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.